Hello everyone. In today's episode, we'll delve into the mystery of Brittanee Drexel's disappearance, bringing you unexpected twists and poignant discoveries. Get ready for a captivating journey from a trip to Myrtle Beach to the astonishing conclusion that finally provides closure to this gripping story. Brittanee Drexel was born on October 7, 1991, in Rochester, New York. Her mother's name was Dawn, and her father was a man of Turkish descent. His identity is not publicly known. Shortly after the girl's birth, Dawn married Chad Drexel, who adopted Brittanee. After Chad's military service, the family settled in the town of Chile on the outskirts of Rochester. In her childhood, Brittanee enjoyed playing soccer. According to memories of friends and family, she performed very well on the field despite her short stature. As time went on, other passions emerged in Drexel's life. The teenager considered starting a career in nursing, cosmetology, or modeling. It's worth adding that Brittanee had a somewhat distinctive appearance. She was born with a rare disease, which led to several unsuccessful surgeries, resulting in her being blind in her right eye. To conceal her tendency to squint, the teenager wore contact lenses. The girl's parents separated in 2008, which was difficult for her and negatively affected Brittanee's academic performance. According to Chad, it also worsened her long-standing depression. The teenager remained in her mother's care but continued to maintain a close relationship with her father. Brittanee's trip to Myrtle Beach in April 2009, Brittanee asked Dawn for permission to travel to Myrtle Beach with her boyfriend and some friends during spring break. It's worth noting that Myrtle Beach is one of the biggest attractions in South Carolina and the entire United States. Millions of tourists choose Myrtle Beach due to its warm climate, beautiful beaches, hundreds of restaurants, hotels, and other attractions. It is also worth mentioning that in the same area, Heather Elvis, who was only 3 years older, disappeared. However, her mother did not agree, as she did not know her daughter's friends who she planned to go with. She also disliked the fact that there would be no adult accompanying the teenagers. Dawn also had a strange premonition that something bad might happen during this trip. This led to an argument that lasted for several days. Everything changed on April 22nd, when Brittanee asked if she could at least go to a friend's house for a day or two, to which her mother agreed. However, on that day, the 17-year-old left with her friends to South Carolina without informing her family. Brittanee called her mother 3 days after the whole group arrived at the Bar Harbor Hotel in Myrtle Beach. She told Dawn that she was at the beach. Her mother was not worried because she assumed Brittanee meant the beach along the shoreline of Lake Ontario. On the same day, around 8 p.m., Drexel left her friends and walked out of the hotel. She walked about 2.4 kilometers south along South Ocean Boulevard to visit a longtime friend staying at the Blue Water Resort. Her arrival was recorded by the surveillance system at the location. The 17-year-old was wearing a black and white tank top, shorts, flip-flops, and a beige purse at the time. Cameras captured her leaving around 8:45 p.m. Disappearance of 17-year-old Drexel. Brittanee texted her boyfriend, John Greco, who stayed in Rochester due to work, that evening. They exchanged text messages for some time, but around 9:15 p.m., Drexel stopped responding. Greco became worried and started calling her friends in Myrtle Beach to check if they knew where his girlfriend was or what had happened to her. When these efforts failed, he called the girl's mother, who then learned that her daughter was in Myrtle Beach. Dawn called Chad, and then the police in Rochester. She hoped that local detectives would be able to contact colleagues in South Carolina. Multiple calls and text messages to Brittanee's phone went unanswered. police investigation begins. The Myrtle Beach police began searching for Drexel the next morning. Investigators obtained security footage from the Blue Water Resort. They also found friends whom the 17-year-old had visited. The last person to see Drexel before her departure was Peter Brozowitz, a 20-year-old nightclub promoter. Brittanee knew him from the Rochester area, and it turned out that he was also on vacation in Myrtle Beach. They supposedly met the previous evening at a local nightclub. The police questioned Brozowitz and the men with whom he shared hotel rooms. Investigators later stated that they had not ruled any of them out as suspects, nor had they charged anyone. The police also searched the teenager's hotel room and found all the clothes she had taken with her. However, her purse and cell phone were missing. Signals from the girl's phone indicated a route about 90 kilometers south of Myrtle Beach. It was an area along U.S. Route 17, near the Georgetown-Charleston County line. The signal was abruptly interrupted in the early hours of April 26. Areas around Myrtle Beach, where a body could be disposed of, were searched for 11 days. In 2011, the police also searched a residence in Georgetown County, but all these efforts did not yield results. Brittanee Drexel a victim of human traffickers? Dawn, who went to Myrtle Beach the day after her daughter's disappearance, eventually moved there permanently. She wanted to be close to the place of Brittanee's disappearance and better monitor the progress of the investigation. In a press article from 2014, which was published on the 5th anniversary of the events, the girl's mother presented her theory. According to her, it was so important for her daughter to go to Myrtle Beach because she was promised something interesting. It could have been, for example, a modeling job, which Drexel dreamt of. Dawn also claimed that her daughter fell into the hands of human traffickers. The Myrtle Beach police denied this, stating that human trafficking was minimal or non-existent in the area. Interestingly, a 2019 report by the Human Trafficking Task Force in Horry County, where Myrtle Beach is located, reported the highest number of human trafficking victims in the entire state. In June 2016, the FBI held a press conference to present a hypothesis. According to it, Drexel was murdered shortly after her disappearance. The 17-year-old was likely abducted from Myrtle Beach. Then she was probably taken to the vicinity of Georgetown, where her cell phone signal was lost, and then killed. The Federal Bureau of Investigation offered a reward of $25,000 for information leading to the resolution of the case. Timothy Taylor, the killer? 2 months later, the Charleston Post and Courier reported the questioning of a certain Timothy Deshaun Taylor. This man was serving a sentence in a state prison. FBI agent Jarek Munoz admitted that a few months earlier, he had spoken to Taquan Brown, a South Carolina inmate who began serving a 25-year sentence for involuntary manslaughter. Brown told Munoz that in 2009, shortly after Drexel's disappearance, he went to the town of McClellanville. There he was supposed to deliver money to Sean Taylor, Timothy's father. When Taquan arrived at Taylor's home, he allegedly saw Timothy sexually abusing Drexel in the presence of other men. Brown then went to the backyard, where he found Sean and made the payment. While they were talking, Brittanee escaped from the house, but was soon caught again. Taquan said he saw Timothy hit the teenager with a gun handle and then take her back inside. Brown then heard 2 shots, which he presumed were fired at the young woman. He also stated that he saw a wrapped body being carried out of the house and thrown into one of the nearby alligator ponds. Brown's testimony was partially confirmed by another informant. His identity was not disclosed, but it is known that he was also in a Georgetown County prison. According to the second prisoner, Timothy abducted Drexel in Myrtle Beach and took her to McClellanville. He then showed her to friends, to whom he tried to sell her. Brown said that when the case attracted media attention, Taylor decided to kill the girl to avoid arrest. Further testimony from Taquan Brown in February 2019, Brown gave a phone interview to the Rochester WHEC TV station from the McCormick Correctional Institution where he was incarcerated. He said that after Drexel's disappearance, he saw her 4 times. Taquan witnessed Drexel being sexually assaulted by a group of 8 to 12 young men. This took place in a hideout in McClellanville on April 27, 2 days after her disappearance. Brown did not recognize her at the time, but he realized it a month later when the case gained publicity. Brown's second encounter with Brittanee occurred a few days later. He described this situation to the FBI, recalling the shots in the building and the removal of the body. Brown claimed that he saw Brittanee for the 3rd time 5 days later on a dirt road near his cousin's residence in Jacksonboro, 130 kilometers south of McClellanville. Taquan saw Brittanee for the last time at the end of May, again at his cousin's, accompanied by his friend. In a wooded area behind the Brown property, he claimed to have witnessed Brittanee's murder by a man known only as Nate. This person supposedly shot her twice with a shotgun. Brown and his friend immediately left the area, fearing being implicated if they stayed longer. WHEC TV was able to confirm part of Brown's testimony. His description of the hideout in McClellanville matched the station's report from a visit in 2016. The situation he recounted during his second encounter with Brittanee, when the teenager was allegedly shot, matched the original story presented by the FBI. The station failed to determine the identity of the friend who accompanied Brown during their last visit. The cousin, who owned the property where the teenager allegedly died, has since passed away. It is also unknown who Nate was. Unfortunately, the outcome turned out to be, as many had suspected, tragic. What fate befell the teenager? In early May 2022, 62-year-old Raymond Moody went to the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office. The man had a history of several sexual offenses and had been considered a suspect for a decade. On May 4th, Moody confessed to the crime and provided the exact location of Brittanee's body. Subsequently, work began to verify this information, involving employees of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This process took place from May 4th to 7th. On May 11th, human remains were found buried in the woods at a fenced private driveway outside Georgetown. On May 15th, the victim's identity was confirmed based on DNA analysis and dental records. It was indeed Brittanee Drexel. It was established that the 17-year-old was strangled and then buried on April 26, 2009. These details were revealed on May 16, along with the announcement of Moody's arrest. He was charged with murder, kidnapping, and first-degree sexual offenses. The perpetrator faces the death penalty, although the sentence in this case has not been handed down yet.